Barbara is actually the closest to my own voice, which I think this is my own voice of anything that I do. And it was really for me not even putting on a voice or stretching myself vocally. It was more just being in all those moments. And I think that's why it rang so true, is that I was just Tara in those extraordinary places playing this iconic character.
Barbara Gordon herself has come so far over the years, right? And I really feel like her presence in the animated series is so strong, and she's just such a welcome member of the Bat family.
Absolutely.
What do you see in her that really attracted you to the character and wanted to play her?
Well, when I was a little girl, I collected Batgirl, and I had the comics, and so it was so cool. Like, when you're a kid reading a comic, you want it to come to life.
Yeah.
And I really think Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and Alan Burnett, they really knew how to do that. And so I was just along for that amazing, magical journey. And to get to play a strong female character, especially at that time, there weren't many.
Yeah.
And she's just a kick-ass chick, and I'm like so honored to have played her. I mean, every time I play her, I pinch myself. Every time.
Gosh. The voice in my head when I read Batman comics to this day.
Thank you
You
very
were the
much.
very first voice I ever heard from Batman.
Thank
like that
God.
was my very first
The
iteration of
brainwashing
Batman.
worked.
It did.
I brainwashed you at an early
exactly.
age.
You're in there. You were what made me fall in love with Batman.
Thank
I was
you.
like, he's an incredible character, and it's all because of you, sir. What was the most challenging episode you found to record?
Oh, without a doubt, Perchance to Dream, because he goes back into he's drugged, and he goes back into his childhood. So I was playing Bruce Batman, drugged Batman, Bruce Wayne, young Bruce Wayne as a young man,
Yeah.
and then old Thomas Wayne, his own father. So I was doing 5 voices.
Oh my gosh.
And they had to be believably relatable,
Right.
but distinct. You know, actors like challenges. That was just a very challenging episode for me, and it was a really complicated story. It was very any stories that got into the psychology of the man were the ones that excited me, because that's what makes him such an interesting character to play. And that's why
Absolutely.
audiences respond to him so much.
Yep.
He's not the traditional square-jawed leading man. He's a damaged, bruised person who picks himself up and gets on with life.
Yeah.
And people love that about him.
Absolutely.
And so any story that dealt with that damaging, I loved playing.
You have brought to life the visual world of the Batman animated series. It's kind of a big undertaking, let's be honest.
It was.
I mean, you defined a generation of what people thought Batman was supposed to look like. How did you come to that style? Is it something close to your own?
Not as much. I mean, it was kind of a variety of influences. A big influence was obviously the Fleischer Brothers Superman cartoons from the 1940s.
Okay.
That had a big influence on the overall look of the series,
Yes.
both in terms of the kind of moody film noir kind of look, and then even like the look of the city. The idea of setting it in a reality that kind of feels like the 1940s, but still has computers and stuff in it. That was, again, kind of like, that comes from my love of old movies and from that era. The character designs are kind of things from like classic Disney cartoons, like Sleeping Beauty, were like a big influence on me as well.
Okay.
It was kind of just a mashup of all of that cool stuff.
For me, that's like the defining image of Batman.
Well, very
It's
cool.
from
Thank
the
you.
animated series. Art for me, it's a living, breathing thing, and we definitely saw that throughout the animated series. We saw it transition over time. Was that something you wanted creatively to do?
Having taken a break from Batman the Animated Series, we went off and did the Superman show, and then they wanted us to go back and do more Batmans, and I kind of didn't want to just go back to that same exact style and just do more of the same. We had experimented with some more graphic stylization in the Superman show, and so we kind of wanted to do a little bit more with that. So we thought, well, if we're going to go back and do Batman, why don't we take this opportunity to kind of give everything a little bit of a facelift? And so it wasn't really so much that I intended the show to evolve. It was just something to kind of make it more interesting, and we really loved it, and we loved the new direction of the characters and the scripts, and it was all, it was all good.
25 years later, we're still talking about it, and I think 100 years from now, we will still be talking about it. If we're all here.
Yeah, exactly.